I'm Dr. Debjani Mukherjee. I head the Department of Psychology, St. Thomas College, Bhilai. Today we'll be discussing about the theories of forgetting, and this topic is relevant for BA first year paper 1 as well as MA second semester paper 1. When we talk about the definition of forgetting, primarily it was defined by Mann as, and which is even relevant today in spite of so many years passing by, that forgetting is the loss which is temporary or permanent in nature, and where the ability to recall or recognize something which was learnt earlier is not possible. सो इसको जब हम समझाते हैं कि हम कुछ भी चीज़ तब भूलते हैं जब इसको हम अपने मेमोरी प्रोसेसेस में जब स्टोर करते हैं, वो किसी भी कारणवश उसको रिकॉल करते टाइम हम फेल कर जाते हैं। और ये जो भूलने का जो प्रक्रिया है, इट कैन बी स्पॉन्टेनियस और इट कैन बी अ ग्रेजुअल प्रोसेस। इट कैन बी at just one time, you just and the next moment you don't remember something, or slowly and slowly because of whatever reason, maybe disuse or not rehearsing, you slowly gradually forget. Now the question arises, why do we forget? हम भूलते क्यों हैं? Well, forgetting information from short term memory can be explained using the theories of trace decay and displacement. Whereas when we forget memory traces from the long term memory, it can be explained using the theories of interference and retrieval failure and lack of consolidation. So, major theories that we will be discussing today are trace decay, interference, and retrieval. When we talk of trace decay theory of forgetting, we assume that the forgetting that happens in the short term memory is not retrievable. That means trace decay is a theory of forgetting which basically focuses on the short term memory and not the long term memory. This theory assumes that memory traces are left in the brain and there is some sort of physical or chemical change in the nervous system, and this change forms a trace in the brain. ट्रेस टिके थ्योरी जो है ये कहता है कि जब हम कोई भी चीज़ याद करते हैं शॉर्ट टर्म मेमोरी में, आपके दिमाग के स्नायु मंडल में कुछ एक बदलाव आता है which is either physical or chemical in nature, and this change in the nervous system is what is called a trace. Trace decay theory further states that whenever there is an automatic decay in these traces, or fading of the memory takes place because of either limited use or small time use, and this further leads to forgetting, that is the decay of those traces. जब हम कोई भी चीज़ बहुत थोड़े समय के लिए याद करते हैं, थोड़े समय तक हमारे दिमाग में वो याद रहता है और कुछ दिनों के बाद या कुछ देर के बाद हम उसको भूल जाते हैं क्योंकि हमने उसको रिहर्स नहीं किया है या रिवाइज नहीं किया है या हमने उसको दोबारा दोहराया नहीं है। इस कारण से जब फॉरगेटिंग होता है उसको ट्रेस डीके कहते हैं। And generally this the short term memory, it is said that it holds information between 15 to 30 seconds in the brain, until of course it is rehearsed so that the traces stay for a little bit more time. Another concept in this trace decay theory is a different kind of pattern of forgetting, which is the displacement from the short term memory. When the short term memory is full, or rather there are a lot of information coming in, and the moment a new information comes in, it pushes out the old information, and this is what is the concept of displacement from short term memory, because the old information gets displaced and is now forgotten in the short term memory. Now, Murdoch in 1962 has spoken about another concept, that is a serial position experiment. And it supports the idea because due to displacement from short term memory, it could be either because of decay. So the displacement can be because of decay, displacement can be because of getting pushed out. Forgetting from short term memory can occur due to displacement, due to decay, and it is very difficult to tell what is the actual reason behind this forgetting. This concept is serial position effect. Now, many things that we learn has the impact of the position or the placement of that learnt material. That is the serial order of the learnt material. There are two concepts in this. That is the primary effect or the primacy effect and the recency effect. Now, when we focus on the primacy effect, it says that good recalls happen whenever you are learning a list and the initial items of that list is remembered the best. That means items which are placed in the beginning of the list is remembered more as compared to materials which are placed either in the middle or at the end. Just the opposite of this primacy effect is the recency effect, which says that the good recalls of items happen of the items which are at the end of the list as compared to at the beginning or the middle of the list. That means when a learning material is given to you, you happen to recall stuff which you learn at the end. That means if you're learning a poem, in the primacy effect, you will be remembering the first stanza of the poem, whereas in the recency effect, you will be learning or remembering rather the last stanza of the poem. Now we are talking about the interference theory. Well, interference is a word which we are all very aware of. The meaning of this word, that is whenever we are in a progress or in a progressive mood and there are some barriers or some blockages on our way to move further. That means there are some interference happening and in the process of our memory. So this interference theory can be because of what we have previously learned or what we will be learning in the future. This suggests that information in the long-term memory may become confused or combined with other memory traces that happens that keeps forming in the brain of a person. We have learned something today, we learn something tomorrow. What we have learned something today may interfere with what we learn tomorrow, or what we learn on the third day may interfere with what we have learned yesterday. So the previous learning or the post learning both can have an impact on the present learning, and this is what is the interference theory. And as Baddeley in 1999 has talked about, that memory interferes with or disrupts our the traces in the brain, and this is what that means the memory is itself detrimental for memorizing something that comes in the after that or something that has happened before that, and this is what is the interference theory. Now in interference theory we talk about proactive interference and retroactive interference. Proactive interference occurs when you cannot learn a new task because of an old task that has been learned. When we already know something and that something interferes in your current learning, that means old memories blocking your new memories. जब हम कुछ चीज याद करते हैं, हमारा उससे पहले का याद किया हुआ चीज ये नया याद करने का प्रक्रिया में अगर बाधा उत्पन्न करता है, उसको इंटरफेरेंस थ्योरी का प्रोएक्टिव इंटरफेरेंस थ्योरी बोला जाता है. Just contrary to that, we have the retroactive interference, which occurs When you forget a previously learned task due to learning of a new task. In other words, later learning interferes with earlier learning. New memories interferes with old memories. रेट्रोएक्टिव इंटरफेरेंस वो इंटरफेरेंस होता है जब आप कुछ चीज याद कर रहे हैं, उसके बाद आप दोबारा कुछ चीज याद करते हैं, और ये जो नया याद किया चीज जो है आपका पुराने यादों को भुला देता है. Well, let me give you some examples of proactive interference and retroactive interference. It will make your concept even more clear once you understand the examples. Now, if I give a subject, say 50 mathematical sums to solve, and by the end of the 50th sum, he is mentally fatigued, he is tired, and then I give him, say, a 10-line poem to learn, a poetry to learn. So, uh, when he learns the poem, we find that he's taking more time than he normally would take. He's making more mistakes than he normally would make. His mind is not at peace in learning the poem. And we conclude that the maths, the sums that he had solved, has fatigued him so much that it is now interfering with his next learning. If such is a case, it is called the proactive interference, where the previously learned activity makes you not learn the new activity as well as he would have otherwise done. When we talk of retroactive interference, it is the other way around. That is, the new task makes you forget the old or the earlier task. Now, I make you learn, say, a 20-line poem. You're very good at it and you have learnt it. After some time, I make you do a 50 sum exercise, which you do, and then I ask you to recall the poem. Now, if there is forgetting between learning of the poem and after the maths is done, then we can say the later task is disruptive in the memory process of the earlier task. And such interference or forgetting is called the retroactive interference. Now, retrieval failure. The word retrieval, it means something which is stored in the brain is brought out. It is brought to the conscious mind. It is brought to the present of your brain memory process. Now, when this retrieval process is not possible, is not happening, and there's a failure in the retrieval process, there are certain reasons why it has not been possible. Let's evaluate those reasons. A retrieval failure is when information is in long-term memory but cannot be accessed. जो भी इंफॉर्मेशन आपके लॉन्ग टर्म मेमोरी में है, उसको अगर आप बाहर याद नहीं कर पा रहे हैं कुछ कारणवश, इसको हम रिट्राइवल फेलियर कहते हैं. Such information is said to be available but it is not accessible. मतलब इंफॉर्मेशन है आपके ब्रेन में लेकिन आप उसको बाहर निकाल नहीं पा रहे हैं. और ये क्यों नहीं निकाल पा रहे हैं? क्योंकि कुछ रिट्राइवल क्यूज होते हैं. ये क्यूज जो हैं वो अभी काम नहीं कर रहे हैं, जिसके कारण से हम भूल जाते हैं, वो चीज को हम याद नहीं कर पाते हैं. इस बात की पुष्टि हुई है कि जब हमारे ये जो क्यूज है याद रखने के, जो क्लू भी कह सकते हैं आप उसको, ये अगर ठीक से काम ना करे तो हमारा लॉन्ग टर्म मेमोरी से रिट्राइवल पॉसिबल नहीं होता है. दैट मीन्स द क्यूज आर फेल, are failing in their work and we are not able to retrieve things from the long-term memory. Towling in 1974 has argued that information would be more readily retrieved if the cues present when the information was encoded were also present. ये कहते हैं कि जब आप कोई भी चीज को याद रखते हैं, ये जो लर्निंग मटेरियल है उसको याद करते टाइम कुछ और भी वातावरण में या आपके अंदर में ऐसे क्यूज होते हैं जो इसके साथ वो भी स्टोर हो जाते हैं. तो जब ये क्यूज के बारे में आप सोचते हैं या ये वाला माहौल आने से ऑटोमेटिकली अंदर में स्टोर किया हुआ मटेरियल बाहर आ जाता है, रिट्राइव हो जाता है. एक मैं आपको उदाहरण देती हूँ कि अगर आपने किसी एक पर्टिकुलर फंक्शन में एक पर्टिकुलर गाने में आपने डांस किया, तो आइंदा जब भी आपने वो उस गाने को सुना आपको इस फंक्शन या प्रोग्राम के बारे में याद आ गया. दैट मीन्स जो प्रोग्राम है, डांस है, गाना है, ये सब एक दूसरे के साथ लिंक हो जाता है और इसमें ये एक दूसरे के लिए क्यू बन जाता है. जब आप एक को याद करते हैं दूसरा भी याद आ जाता है. सो इसमें गाना आपका क्यू है वो इंफॉर्मेशन या प्रोग्राम को याद रखने के लिए, या प्रोग्राम आपका क्यू है उस गाने को याद रखने के लिए. ये जो है अगर ये क्यू अगर ठीक से नहीं स्टोर होता है आपके मटेरियल के साथ, आपका रिट्राइवल फेलियर हो सकता है. चलिए इसी क्यूज के बारे में हम आगे और बात करते हैं. लेट्स टॉक अबाउट रिट्राइवल फेलियर. Now Towling has talked about these cues or information that is stored in the brain in terms of cues which are external context and which are in terms of internal context. It says that along with the information, these cues or which can be either external or internal can also get stored in the brain. And whenever these cues are remembered, automatically the information stored also comes out. Now external cues can be a particular smell or a particular place, or if you're driving some place and you see a beautiful house, whenever you go to some other place and you see a similar looking house, you think of the previous place. So it can be a particular room, a group of people, a rainy day, anything which is in the environment can be an external cue. Now coming to the second type of cue, that is the internal cue, and this is basically your mental functioning or your physical functioning, your emotional functioning, your mood, which are cues for you to remember the learnt material. When a person's physical or psychological state is similar at encoding and retrieval, these similar mental or physical cues will make you remember that learnt material, will act as a cue for you to remember that. I'll just give you an example. If someone tells you a joke on a Saturday night when you are in a very happy weekend mood, so you'll be more likely to remember it when you are in a similar weekend mood, happy frame of mind. You may again remember the joke that was told to you before. That means this happy frame of mind is a cue for you to remember the joke. So whenever you are happy, you tend to remember what you had learned previously in the similar mode or similar mood. Well, with this, we come to the end of this particular class, which dealt with forgetting and its various theories. The questions that are asked in the examination is a very straightforward one, where the question will be worded in such a manner like, what do you mean by forgetting? Discuss the main theories of forgetting, and the answer will deal with all the aspects that has been discussed in this class. Thank you.